Just having a look around. I'm in VanDusen Gardens and I'm wearing this t-shirt and it's got holes in it. So I think I've had this t-shirt for a few years. Anyhow, today I've been doing some editing. I'm about 2/3 of the way through my work in progress, which will be a new adult fiction, short novel or novella. And of what I have already written, I've edited about 2/3 of it. So I'm not going to bother doing the math of how much out of the actual whole, because the whole isn't finished yet. Anyhow, I was very pleased as I was editing it today because I feel like I'm in the vein. Because sometimes when you're writing, initially when you're thinking about it, it's just a feeling of dissatisfaction, like it's not quite hitting the mark. But now I know I'm on the right track. It's feeling good. I have to polish up and fine-tune a few things, but it's well on track. I'm in no rush because I have no need to be. There's just simply no rush. I've got 4 published books which I haven't really put a heck of a lot of effort into marketing. All the things I've been doing are just my own self-promotion. No money involved. I haven't paid to advertise, so I'll eventually get around to looking into that. I've got other things to do. I'm in VanDusen Gardens and it is so peaceful. I recommend you come to a place like this, if not VanDusen Gardens, another type of garden, and just walk around until you get this slightly disoriented feeling, because that's when you're there. That's when you've plugged out of what's outside. It is really lovely. I'm so glad I got the membership. I've got my money's worth because I've been here since I got the membership in August last year. I've been here how many times? I think this is my 5th or 6th time. And my membership isn't expiring, I think, until the end of August. So I can get water. I might come here again tomorrow. It's so lovely. It's weirdly peaceful, and I've discovered things about this place that I haven't before. I've looked at a few flowers, looked at a hydrangea, or white hydrangea, a Super Bowl hydrangea, I think, and it reminds me of that dog with a funny face. It's the same type of shape. Oh, I forgot what I was going to say now. I remembered. There's a character in my work in progress. Her name is Eloise Ellis, née Cox. She is the main character's mother, and she met Cole's father when she was 15 and he was 24. By the time she was 16, she was a mother. You know how in those films people say, I love that person, but I'm not in love with them? Well, she was in love with Jason, Cole's father, but she didn't love him, which is a strange thing to say, but that's how I see it with her. Because when she found out through Cole, and Cole found out through his half-brother Kane, whom he first met when he was 18, she was relieved. You're never relieved when someone you love has died, unless they were suffering and they're out of their misery, but there's still that loss. She was just, thank God he's not around and he couldn't just show up in my life and just turn it all on its head, because I think if he had, she was scared. How could I resist? She's glad to be free. She never loved him. She was in chains. This is desire, attraction, addiction. This is not love. Anyhow, for Jason, when he saw Eloise, she was kind of perfect. She's young, she's pretty, naive, very inexperienced. He swept her off her feet, pulled her into his world, and she was happy to be there until they got pulled out of his world into the world outside the valley in which he lived with her, and in which Cole spent his formative years, or his early formative years. Yeah, she was perfect to him because she was exactly the sort of woman he was after, that he needed for his purposes. Which might sound cold, but it wasn't just a case of being evil or calculating just for the sake of it. There was need there was necessity. When Eloise met Steve, whom she married and had another child with, for Steve, she was also perfect. She had a child, yes, but she was very pure. She wasn't worldly, she was very nice. There's nothing underhand and scheming. She was just a pretty young woman who'd been with someone who walked out on her and left her with the child. And she did a great job of raising without Jason. And when he met her, she was perfect in so many ways. Lovely person, very pretty, same sort of values as him, and she needed him. She was never in love with Steve, and yes, she does love him. But there's a lot of need there. I wouldn't say it's unhealthy because they have a healthy relationship, but they're bound by a need. Steve, I think, is by nature, he's a good guy, he's reliable, he's a protector, he's a provider, and being with someone like her fulfills a need in him. Emotional, psychological. And for Eloise, it's a very material need. But she's been the perfect woman for two men. And she's been an excellent mother for Cole. Cole does say that Steve's a great dad. He never mentions his mom. But she's pretty damned awesome, because when she was going through rocky times with Jason, he didn't feel any of it. She really protected him from that. I mean, he loves her, but the way he values Steve, I'd say he really feels the lack of his dad in some way. He's come to see that he's come to believe that his father's just an asshole, but there's so much more to it than that. And I really think that Jason's the sort of person, it's best not to understand someone like that, because if you understand how they regard you, you might be repulsed. Not that they're thinking horrible things about you, but there is a level of coldness there. It's not evil, it's just this is someone who'll never be gutted if you're dead. He'll just find someone like that, and that's not a bad thing. But if you stop meeting his needs, he'll just be gone again. That is not a bad thing, but it can just leave you feeling, if you're someone who likes to feel really connected, that it's not that you cannot have a secure connection with someone like Jason, but he can disconnect real quick and just move on. That's just how he is. That is not necessarily a bad thing. But if you're not wired that way, you can find it very hard to understand. He's not doing that just to be an asshole. That's just the way he's put together. That's the way he has adapted, and it's not maladaptive. What's the opposite of maladaptive? Pro-adaptive? Bene-adaptive? I don't know. It's there's nothing wrong with the way he's adjusted to the world in which he lives and has to make his way through. So that's just some thoughts about my work in progress and Eloise. Really is lovely here. It's very inspiring in all sorts of ways. Enough.